JapanCast.net is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at audiblepodcast.com/JapanCast. Over 75,000 titles to choose from, including hundreds of Japanese language books. Support us by supporting them. Visit audiblepodcast.com/JapanCast today.
JapanCast.net.
Welcome to JapanCast.net video episode number 9. I'm Paul Griswold.
And I'm Hitomi Griswold.
JapanCast.net is your source for all things Japan. Whether you've just insulted that very cute Japanese girl by telling her she's sugoi kawaii, or perhaps you live in Japan and all your neighbors are giving you weird looks because you think you've been complimenting them on their wonderful grass by saying kirei na kuso instead of saying kirei na kusa, JapanCast.net is your place to go. Wanted to quickly say hello to our friends at Konoha Corner. They are a Naruto podcast. And I'm going to put on the screen here their URL. For those of you listening on the audio version, it is konohacornerpodcast.webs.com. So if you have a chance, go check those guys out if you're a fan of Naruto. That's what they're all about. Great friends of the show here, and we appreciate their support. As we mentioned last week, we have a Facebook page. I think we got like 170, 180 people now already up on there. I made a short version of the URL, so it's tinyurl.com/JapanCast. And of course, if you're on Twitter, I'm twitter.com/Paulrus, and you are
JapanCast.
So you can connect up with us. I don't talk that much about Japan stuff. I mostly talk animation and complain a lot about the soft-image marketing from Autodesk, which is non-existent, has nothing to do with Japanese. And if you're on Twitter, could you do us a favor and help us grow? Right now, pause the podcast and give us an @JapanCast tweet and say, @JapanCast, learning Japanese with JapanCast's HD videos now. That really, believe it or not, you guys are what makes this podcast a success. It helps us grow. So if you can on Twitter, just tweet @JapanCast, learning Japanese with JapanCast's HD videos now. If you're on Facebook, if you could just post to your status, learning Japanese with JapanCast.net's HD videos now. That really, really, believe it or not, helps us a lot.
Honto?
It really does.
Really?
Makes a huge difference. Not only with people who are following you on Twitter or Facebook, but actually people then can find us even easier, and it helps us grow. So really thank you guys for that kind of help. And on with this week's episode. This week we have a ton to cover, so we're going to skip the news and go right into the Culture Corner. So here we go. So this week on the Culture Corner, I found a video, and I thought this was really good for you guys. It's a great listening exercise. For those of you who are intermediates, you should be able to understand 90 to 100% of what's said in this video. And it's also some really neat cultural things. It's from a TV show that's been very popular for years. What's it called?
初めてのお使い.
And it's about kids running their first errand for their parent.
Right. 初めての means the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The very first. お使い means errands.
Okay. And one of the cultural things that's interesting in this video is that in Japan, kids run errands at a very young age. You'll see in this video, this boy is very young. Here in America, not only because of the distance that people live apart, you live out in the country, you can't go anywhere without a car. But we have, dangerous drivers, we have kids being abducted, it's all kinds of things. So it's just not, you wouldn't send a 3 or 4-year-old to go to the store to get something, but you were saying when you were little.
Yeah, I was like 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go to, supermarket or little store or haircut alone.
Okay.
my mom would give me money, and then I would
Off
go.
on your own. So that was something I thought was culturally very interesting. Another thing that's a cultural thing is buying omiyage when you go on a trip. So we would think of it, I think, more as souvenirs, and that's usually not just you're going on a little trip from, to your dad's store. We'd never think of buy somebody an omiyage. It would be more of, I went on vacation to Mount Rushmore and I bought you this paperweight in the shape of Mount Rushmore. Not, and it seems like that's very common in Japan, that constantly people are bringing omiyage back.
Little something. It doesn't have to be...
No, not expensive, but...
Right. Little thing.
And one of the things on this video you'll see is there's a lady pushing a cart in the Shinkansen full of stuff. And in the stations, I remember that they would have kiosks with little things that you could buy, snacks or things like that.
Newspapers, magazines. Yeah.
So just omiyage stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Little things from that place,
Right.
that area.
That area. Another thing in this video you'll see is people wearing masks, and we talked about that in a previous episode.
It's very common.
And there was one thing that I have experienced that this little boy experiences, and that's the green car on the Shinkansen.
Yeah, green sha.
In fact, I think the very first time I rode a Shinkansen, I sat in the green car.
Without paying extra?
Without paying any extra. I just went and got in. I didn't know what it
It's
meant.
empty in here.
Yeah, it was totally empty. I was the only person. And I thought,
course.
this is great. It's very comfortable seats. And
Yeah, it's a little bigger.
it's
Yeah,
bigger
and
seats.
between the seat, wider or bigger.
Space.
Yeah, space, yeah.
So that's something you'll see on this video. And as I said, the lady pushing the cart, selling stuff with bento and things like that.
Yeah,
Also.
ocha, obento, little things.
So actually, that reminds me of Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah, the same kind of thing. Yeah,
going
they
through and
come
selling
in-
the frogs
right,
and
chocolate.
things like that. So
Yeah.
now there's quite a few words in here, and I thought this would be, for you beginners, this is a great chance to practice listening. I would assume most of the intermediates are going to know 90% of these words, but for those of you who are just starting out, I thought you could give them a list of words to listen for, and I would recommend practicing this. Listen to it a couple times, watch this video, and really work on picking up what they're saying. You'll be surprised at how quickly you'll learn, and just by learning these few words, you'll know what's going on. And when you're watching the video and you can pick out these words, you'll figure out what's going on in this video. So could you give us some words?
はい。じゃあ、英語で言ってね。
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
新幹線、
That's bullet train.
お父さん、
That's dad or father.
お母さん、
It's mom or mother.
忘れ物した、
It means I forgot something.
鉄砲、
That's gun.
やっぱりダメか。
Yeah, yapari is a good phrase for you to know. In this context, it means he can't do it after all. But yapari is a word that doesn't translate directly to English, and this is one of those areas where it's important to learn phrases, not memorize and try to build sentences grammatically. Yapari sort of means as I expected or as I thought was going to happen. So she's saying, yapari.
やっぱりダメか。
So as I thought, he can't do it after all.
いけないって。
I said I can't go.
大変。
It's hard or it's difficult.
抱っこ。
Dakko is another word that doesn't directly translate. It means to pick up a little kid. But if a kid's asking for it, it means pick me up or give me a hug.
Right. 抱っこ。
Or if a mom says it to a kid, it means, come here, I'm going to pick you up.
抱っこする
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 駅。
Eki is the station.
Train station. 葉っぱ。
Hapa is leaf.
子供1枚。
One child ticket.
おにぎり。
That's a rice ball, and you'll see that all the time in anime.
お土産
And we talked about that. That's a little gift that you're going to buy.
怖い
And as I open the show, kawaii means scary. Kawaii means cute. So,
はい、そしたら、怖い scary かわいい is cute 切符
that's ticket.
おばちゃん
In this context, it means middle-aged woman, but it also can mean aunt or aunt, depending on what part of the country or world you live in. So,
足の中に入れていこう
let's put it in my shoes. Although ashi means foot. But,
leg
or leg, yeah.
靴の中
Inside a shoe.
お尻
Butt or your rear end.
歩いてきたの
I came by foot or I walked here.
息子
Son. So those are the words to listen for. There's quite a few there. And I think you'll be surprised at how much you understand just by learning a few words here and there. You'll be able to actually comprehend what's going on in this scene. So let's go ahead and watch this video.
お使い先はお父さんのお店です。赤ちゃんの頃からお母さんとは毎日来てます。バシッとサムエを着たお父さんはかっこいいんだ。駅まで歩いて行って切符を2枚。乗車券と新幹線の特急券がないと小町には乗れません。新幹線で15分、一駅目の角館で降りないと大変だよ。お父さんのお店は国道沿いのドライブインです。
車が通るところはよく注意して渡るんだぞ。分かったか？分からなくなったら聞けよ。じゃあね。どこじゃ行くんだ？角館三吉だ。じゃあね。
新幹線に乗ってお父さんのところへお使いです。お父さんが言った通りです。清は男だ、やるさーって。あれ、清くん？
忘れ物した。
忘れ物？サムエと前掛けはリックの中、何忘れたんでしょう？
清がね、一人で。
ママ、忘れ物した。
何忘れた？
鉄砲。
鉄砲が。
おもちゃの鉄砲で戦いごっこの時にいつもお父さんと遊んでるんだ。清くんの大事なお守り。
これどれだ？
お母さんったらまだわかんねえのか？
これ。
よし。
ウルトラマンのさ。
はいと。ママもう戻ってきても。
一人で行けないで。
やっぱりダメか。
鉄砲がある。ママ必ず。
行けないって。
必ずあと。絶対行けない。ある。ママ必ず。
行けないって。
必ずあと。絶対行けない。絶対行けない。どうした？
キロよしたいとダメ。行けないんだもん。
怖くなったら。
怖くねえけど。
怖くねえが？
怖くねえけど。
本当は怖いんでねえのか？
いけねえんだよ。
いけねえのか？よし、わかった。ヘバやペン持ってきて今日の手帳書いてやる。いいか？パパの電話番号書いてやる。三吉だって。なんとかなるもんだな。
手のひらにお父さんのお店の電話番号を書いてもらいました。そしてお母さん、清大好きのハートマークも。
ここまっすぐ行くんだぞ。ママ。
行けねえんだって。
ここだべよ、ほら。
大変なんだって。
大変だけが？大変をやってのけるのが勇者だろう。
やっぱり無理だよ。
抱っこなしって言ったべ。
抱っこはしないとお母さんは心に決めていました。でも
な。
どうして
一個だけだぞ。これいくよ。
お母さんは愛情を満タンに詰め込みました。
いいか？いいって言ってな。よし。
清くん、行く気かな？ボタンを押した。いったー。清くんは駅に向かっています。生まれて初めて一人っきりの男の戦いです。兄さんの顔だ。
面白い。面白い。
さっきまで何やって
ここまで来ちゃったんだよ。
調子が出てきたぞ。もうすぐそこが駅です。
お
お父さんと山菜採りや葉っぱもよく拾いに行くんだ。でもお使い覚えてるかな？
飛んでいってしまった。とっとけもの、とっとけもの。
ちゃんと覚えてます。さあ目の前が駅です。切符買えるかな？
子供行きまい。
乗車券と新幹線の特急券を買うんだ。何度も乗ってるからちゃんと知ってるって。売店？
これなんだ。
おにぎり、こっちはたらこ。たらこ好き？
たらこが好きなのはお父さん。あ、そうか。おにぎりはお父さんへのお土産なんです。さあ切符、今日は窓口で買いなさいって言われました。いつもはお母さんに抱っこで自販機で買うんですけどね。その時にふと恐ろしい気配が。田沢湖の龍神様です。小町開通と同時にデーンと飾られて怖いんだよな。泣く子は龍神様に食わせるぞってお父さんによく叱られるんだ。次の小町まであと15分。さあ切符買わなくちゃ。切符でも龍神様が怖いんだよな。で清君が逃げてきた先は観光案内所。あと10分しかない。清君、生ハゲなんか見てないで。その時です。よかった、案内所のおばちゃん聞いてくれて。
切符買う。
切符買うの？わからない。
7分後の小町なんです。角館まで。
角館まで。
言えたよ、角館。清君の手の甲にはお母さんがマジックで描いた清大好きのハートのマーク。切符はちゃんと2枚。子供の乗車券と新幹線の自由席の切符を買いました。
足の中へ入れていこう。足の中。
足の中？
口の中。
口の中に入れるの？
お父さんがいつも言ってる、大事なものは靴に入れとけ。
まもなく1番線に電車が参ります。
あ、来た、小町だ。切符早く出さなくちゃ。清君、なんか湿っぽいぞって。いいから早く。
はい、
さてと、小町。
僕切符、はいどうぞ。
切符返してくれんの？
出さないでね。はい。
来た、小町。清君は改札からすぐのドアから乗りました。おや、今日は空いてるな、小町って。それもそのはず、グリーン車だよここ。カメラマンはドキドキです。だってカメラマンも自由席の切符しか持ってません。角館までは駅1つ15分です。車掌さん来たらどうしよう。だってここグリーン車です。叱られたりしねえよね。今日はふざけたりしねえでじっとしてよ。一駅だからこのまま行けるかな。
乗車券を拝見させていただきます。
うわー、来ちゃった車掌さん。
これね、自由席なんだよこれ。ね、でグリーン席だから、グリーン車だから自由席行ってもらいます。ね。
叱られちゃった。ふざけたりしねえでおとなしくしてたのに。ねえ。秋田新幹線小町は5両編成。先頭の2両が自由席で、グリーン車は一番後ろの車両でした。3両目の指定席にはお姉さんのお尻が。どうしてよ。あれ、お財布が引っかかっちゃった。お弁当だ。チョコレートだ。みんなが見てる。かっこ悪い。清君はやっと2両目の自由席に落ち着きました。
今座りました。前から2両目の6番目に座りました。
来た。前から2両目の、6番目の窓。
12345。いた。よーし、清君。この日カメラマン畑の中で3時間粘りました。その頃自由席にはお母さん。そんな変装までしてやっぱりついてきてしまいました。音楽だ。 いつもなら大騒ぎしていて聞き逃す車内放送です。
まもなく
角館降りなくっちゃ。お父さんのお店がある角館、ここで降りなきゃもうお父さんに会えないぞってお父さん言ってた。お出迎えの人たちがいます。でも清君は一人っきりでホームに降り立ちました。小町一人で乗れたぞ、待っててね。お父さんのサムエと前掛け。お母さんが手のひらに書いてくれた店の電話番号は汗ですっかり消えていました。お父さんのお店に到着です。よーし、来たな
お、怖くなかった？
歩いてきた。
すげえな、頑張ったね。
ほら、
父と息子サムエと前掛け。
パパの仕事に小町のれだっけ？
ふざけたりしなかった。
鉄砲を持ってきたんだな。
ウルトラマンのだな。
俺が使ってるんですよ。こうでねばな。
かっこいいな。俺も父さんみてえになりてえ。
なあ、
ありがとうございました。
お母さん、ここまで来ちゃった。出てきちゃダメですよ。もうちゃんとお使いできたんだから。あ、清君、隠れて隠れて。見つかっちゃった。
抱っこしてやるかい。抱っこしてやる。来るか。来い来い来い。
あららららららら。あれ、清君の抱っこの先はお父さんだ。
いや、ママに抱っこさせろ。抱っこさせ
いやだよ、女は。俺は男だよ。秋田の兄さん。なんだ、抱っこされてたのはお母さんの方だったんです。
寂しいですね。
And now it's time to thank our sponsors this week. Our wonderful sponsor, Audible.com. If you sign up at audiblepodcast.com/JapanCast, you can get a 14-day free trial membership. And you can cancel that at any time. You can keep the books forever. No matter if you sign up and you stay with them for 6 months and cancel, 1 year and cancel, no matter what, the books are yours forever. You can also burn them onto a CD. Again, keep them forever. Listen to them in your car. Absolutely yours to keep forever. It's not a rental. And I did pick out a really interesting book. It's called Inventing Japan, Modern Library Chronicles by Mutuma. And I know that sounds just like the most boring book in the world, but I listened to part of it. And it's a book about how Japan changed from 1853, when it opened up to the West, until the 1964 Olympics. And it's just filled with stories about events that happened in Japan's history. Really, really interesting short stories about different things that had gone on from 1853 to 1964. So if you're interested in Japanese culture and you want to know why Japan is what it is today, this is a great book to listen to. So I highly recommend it. So head over to audiblepodcast.com/JapanCast and get this as your free audiobook. And up next, we have this week's vocabulary. So let's head on. We're going to do some more K-on. Okay, so what do we have?
We are going to learn some useful phrases from K-on. There are 6 useful phrases. Number 1, 上がって.
Come in.
We say 上がって上がって. Come on in. And number 2, お邪魔します.
It's we're sorry for intruding, which in English you'd never say that, but
yeah, before we enter somebody
it's a
else's
polite
house.
phrase. And again, another example of why you shouldn't try to learn Japanese words and then literally translate, because in English we would never say, we're sorry for intruding. to me, intruding is like a military thing, but that's literally how it translates. But it's a very polite phrase.
Yeah, it's a fixed phrase, before entering somebody else's house, we say お邪魔します. And number 3, おかえり.
So welcome back.
So that's again another fixed phrase. Somebody comes home and somebody who stayed at home say おかえり or おかえりなさい.
Okay.
And number 4, はじめまして.
Nice to meet you. Sorry, I'm losing my. I know hajimemashite.
Yeah. Any other way to translate?
Hajimemashite.
Other than nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
はじめまして. This is another fixed phrase when you met somebody the very, very first time.
Very common phrase.
So only once, you use it in each.
Right.
person. You don't.
Yeah, not every time you see somebody.
Only the very first time. はじめまして. Okay. And number 5, 姉がお世話になっています.
Thank you for taking care of my older sister.
So 姉 is older sister. You are referring to your own older sister. 姉がお世話になっています. And the last one, number 6, スリッパをどうぞ.
Please put on these slippers. Now again, that's not a literal translation.
Right.
It's just saying, here's slippers.
Yeah.
But
basically,
it
please
means
wear
please put on these slippers.
Yeah, please put on these slippers. So you can replace slipper with, anything. お茶をどうぞ. Please have some tea.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and watch the clip and listen for those phrases and practice those phrases. You can always replace words. As you learn phrases, you can start practicing by pulling words out and replacing because you've learned
you already know,
a set.
Right? Yeah.
So that's one of the best ways to learn Japanese.
Yeah, like number 5, 姉がお世話になっています. You can replace 姉 with somebody else. 妹、兄、母、父.
Great. So let's take a look and see what you guys think.
みんな上がって上がって。お邪魔します。おー。お姉ちゃんおかえり。あれ、お友達？はじめまして、妹のういです。姉がお世話になってます。スリッパをどうぞ。できた子だ。
All right. Those of you who are donation subscribers, check your email and you'll get some additional study materials. And up next, we have a lot of mail in the JapanCast mailbag. So this week, we have two, not emails, but we have 2 questions that we want to cover. First is our very first YouTube video. Brittany, who has a YouTube channel at youtube.com/users/BKCartist, sent in the following video. Let's take a look.
こんにちは、ひとみ先生、そしてポー。私の名前はブリトニーです。写真が好きですか？写真が好きです。そして読書、そして音楽。暇な時何をしますか？ I have a question. I recently bought a Lonely Planet book, a phrase book for Japanese. It has a dictionary in the back, but I've been using it to help me learn vocabulary and sentence structure, and I think it's a really good tool. And I didn't know if you guys had used any Lonely Planet books or practice books or anything, but it has a lot of content that I think is pretty good and quick and easy. And I like how they put they put the hiragana and katakana in there. It's not just romaji, and it actually helps you with sentence structure and such in the beginning. I really am learning a lot from it. Plus, added to this book, your videos are really helping me a lot with comprehension. I'm having trouble putting sentences together. That's the hardest part for me, is the sentence structure. Everything else, the vocabulary, I've learned most of the hiragana. I'm still kind of rusty. But katakana I'm not so good at. Don't even get me started on kanji, because I've learned maybe the symbol for love and the symbol for forest, and that's about it. I also had a question about photography abroad. I went on a mission trip to Panama recently. It was a very good experience for me because I went with my church. We went into the mountains, into some rural place. We went to El Capuri, Panama City, and Chitre. And I was wondering, there they loved pictures. They loved photographs, and I didn't know culturally if there's any difference in taking pictures there. If people would be offended if you just took their picture. Any tips you have on photography abroad would help me a lot. Or mission trips abroad, if you guys have been on a mission trip, not to Japan but somewhere else. It would help me out a lot because my husband and I really want to go on a mission trip to Japan. We're both learning and studying pretty hard. I'm trying to get a video language partner to help me with comprehension and sentence structure. So if there's anybody who watches JapanCast who needs a language partner who's fluent in Japanese, I'm looking for somebody to speak with. So I have Skype, and my name is BKC Artist. So anybody who likes photography, shashin, reading, music, anime, manga, anything really, I'd love to chat with you. Thank you very much. どうもありがとうございます。Hitomi and Paul. じゃあまたね。
Okay, so we have quite a few things to answer there. Let's go through. First thing was shashin suki.
写真好き？
好きです。
好きですね。You have Canon too, right?
I have a Canon camera. That's what we shoot this with, is a T2i, also known as a 550D. So, very nice camera. I'm happy with it. Did you know, did you catch the other question that she asked?
Did she ask anything else?
Yeah. Do I need to replay it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's replay that, and then you can answer her other question. Okay, so now you know what caught the question this time around. There's a lot of stuff in that video, so.
She asked us, 暇な時何をしますか? What do we do on our spare time when we don't have, anything going on?
I do JapanCast in my spare time.
私はパンを焼きます。I like to bake bread. Or listen to music. 音楽を聴きます。
The other question she asked was, what about the Lonely Planet book? What do you think?
Let's see. I love Lonely Planet Phrasebooks. I love them. Can you tell?
No.
I love. I have 3 Lonely Planet Phrasebooks. They're great. Other than phrases, they're good. There are very good information on like pronunciation, a little grammar, and on the back of the each book, they have a little dictionary. So, and the phrases are very, very useful, I think. I've got a Spanish one recently, and this came with an audio CD. It's very helpful. I don't know if Japanese one comes with CD.
Actually, I have to check Audible and see if there's Lonely Planet on there. There may be a good phrase.
Very good. Very, very, very good phrase book. I love it. So I highly recommend getting it.
Great. The other question she had was about, she was talking about having trouble putting sentences together. And as I mentioned in this episode, my personal opinion is people get into trouble learning languages when they try to think of a sentence in their native language and then try to reconstruct it in Japanese by just learning words and grammar and then building sentences. That's when you get into trouble because you'll forget a word or you'll mix grammar up or you'll create sentences that aren't natural sounding. So my personal view is when you're first starting off, you should try to memorize phrases and sentences, common ones, first, so that you pick up the pattern and things will just start to sound right to you. You won't know why. If I was teaching people English and they asked me, why do you say things this way? I couldn't tell you why. I just know that that's how we say it. It's the same thing, I think, when you start off with Japanese is don't worry about the grammar. Don't worry about any of that.
Yeah, why we use why here? Why not ga, why oh? Yeah, those.
Don't worry about any of that when you're first starting out. Learn what sounds right. And then take the sentences that you know and try to modify them by swapping words out. Learn new vocabulary words and swap them in. Learn adjectives, learn nouns. But once you have some basis, then you can swap them in and out. And you're going to make mistakes, but that's how you learn. You have to make mistakes and have somebody correct you, and then you'll remember that. As we were saying, languages are not like math. Math, you learn a formula, and you learn why you must follow that formula. Languages are not math. There's not a formula to it. Learn in the natural way. Learn the phrases first, learn sentences first, and learn what sounds appropriate. It may not even be grammatically correct, because do you speak perfectly grammatically correct English all the time? No. Or Spanish or whatever?
We don't. In Japanese, do we omit a lot of particles when we speak? So
that's my advice for anybody trying to learn is do that. As far as learning katakana, I still can't remember katakana. So I think it's a little bit harder to learn than hiragana because it's not used quite as much. Hiragana is used all the time. I always,
in my lessons, private lessons, I always teach hiragana and katakana at the same time. Yeah.
And I didn't learn them. I learned them separately, which makes it much harder.
I always, per week, 10 characters per week. So, aiueo, hiragana and katakana aiueo, 10. Just 10 per week.
And hopefully one of these days, Apple will approve our iPhone app and you can just get the free version if you want to learn hiragana and katakana and practice writing the stroke order.
That's important.
And you'll learn them all. So they're in there. One other question was about photography and whether it's appropriate to just take pictures of people. I can tell you, when I went to Japan, I was in a shopping mall and I saw two older ladies wearing kimono, and I really wanted to take a picture with them. So honestly,
with them?
Yeah, with them. And so I just asked if it was okay, and I did my best to be as polite as possible. I tried speaking Japanese to them, and I thanked them as much as I possibly could. I did a lot of bowing. And they were perfectly happy. They probably thought I was a weirdo, but they didn't say no. They weren't offended. They kind of laughed and giggled at the fact that I wanted to take a picture because they were just shopping at this mall. But they didn't mind. I can tell you, though, I do think the public in general does not like just having pictures taken because there's a law in Japan that all cameras, including cell phone cameras, must make a sound when you take a picture.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to your sister about this.
When?
Oh, this is a while ago because I wanted to get some pictures of street signs and train and things like that. And she said, I can't take pictures on a train because it'll make noise. Our phones have to make noise and people will get mad and look at me for taking their pictures. So I think, people won't mind if you politely ask them if it's okay to take a picture, but I wouldn't just go snapping pictures of people. You know, obviously people are going to be, if you're at a tourist place, they're going to be there and they expect you're going to get a picture taken. But if you're specifically, there's somebody in a kimono and you just walk up and start taking a picture, they might get a little bit upset with you. So. And the last thing was a mission trip. I've never been on a mission trip. I don't think you've ever been on a mission trip.
Yep.
As far as mission trips to Japan, go to japan.org. It's go, the number 2, japan.org. Has some really good information on planning anything from a short week or 2 mission trip to up to, I think, like 4 years mission trips to Japan. So definitely check them out if you're interested on doing a mission trip to Japan. And I don't know if you had anything else to add to that.
It was very nice of her.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You guys out there, all right, Brittany's putting you to shame. She was the brave first one, so how about you? Come on. Post that video to YouTube, send us a link to the video, and put JapanCast video in the subject. Ask us a question, say whatever you want, practice your Japanese, doesn't matter. Right. We're all friends here. Everybody's welcome.
So. ありがとうございました.
And next up, Giovanni had a question for me. He says, "Hey Paul, in many of your podcasts and videos you have mentioned that you animate for a living. And well, I was wondering where we can see a bit of your works and hear a bit about that aspect of your life. Perhaps how you got into it, how that job outlook is in Japan, and what programs are popular in the animation you do, as well as the animation of many popular anime we see commonly. I think not only I, but your other listeners will enjoy losing my place hearing this in one of your iTunes podcasts." Again, that's from Giovanni. You can see some of my stuff. You could go to vimeo.com/fusion/videos, and there's all sorts of stuff there, or fusiondigitalproductions.com. As far as software, I use Softimage, and you could go to softimage.com, which will take you to Autodesk. And if you click on Customer Showcase and scroll down in the little window at the top, you'll see Appleseed and Tekon Kincrete, which has some articles on how they were made. Softimage has what's called a cell shader, which lets you do cartoon style. If you go and look at my Vimeo stuff, you'll see a music video I did for an Israeli band, all done in cell-shaded 3D. There's also a guy or a girl, I'm not sure, on YouTube, youtube.com/user/gotetz, Gotetz. If you go to that page and look through, you'll find his toon-shaded rendering tests. So that'll give you, again, an idea of how you can do anime in the computer. I think some stuff they use Flash or Toon Boom Studio for doing 2D stuff. As far as job outlook, if you're not Japanese, I would say the chances are slim to none at getting a job in Japan in the anime industry. There are schools over there that train people to do this, and there are tons of people who want to do it, and Japan's laws towards foreigners, unless you have a skill that no Japanese person has, they must hire a Japanese person over a foreigner first. So, for example, there are opportunities. Tekon Kincrete was directed by Michael Arias from Softimage, and it is in Japanese. It was a Japanese crew. I think it's 4 Degrees Celsius is the company, and I'll put their link up on the screen here. But it was an all-Japanese production company with an American director who lives in Japan.
Oh.
So it does happen, but it's very rare. I think you'd have much more opportunity animating your own projects and doing them in anime style, and possibly getting distributorship. Timothy Albee did his, it's not anime, but it's sort of an Asian style, Kaze Ghost Warrior, on his own, and then distributed that with Japanese subtitles. I think that is probably a little bit better way to go. But that's sort of what I do. You can look at my stuff. Don't mean to be discouraging. It's just the anime market is huge for sales, but there's a very small amount of companies actually producing the work, and it's very hard work. Oh shoot, it stopped recording. Okay, we're back. We had a camera cut out. Anyway, we really appreciate your questions. We really appreciate the video.
All the support.
All the supporters, definitely. Those of you who are supporters, getting bonus materials in your email. And again, email us if you want us to cover anything. We're going to probably go into Naruto eventually. And
some other popular
maybe
anime,
Bleach.
Maybe Bleach. Maybe NHK ni Yokoso.
So those are future episodes. So if you have any questions or comments, send them to hitomi@japancast.net, and we'll try to answer your question on a future show, and I will try to be much shorter in my answers. Or just don't ask me any questions. That's probably the smarter thing to do. All right, I think that's it for this week. We will see you next time on JapanCast.net.
じゃあまたね。